Hello and welcome to class 39 of the UPSC Mains Answer Writing Initiative. If you have been attending these classes, I really hope that you are now in a much better position as compared to where you were earlier when it comes to facing mains questions by the UPSC. What do we do here? Every single day at 7 p.m. we come here for a class where we discuss a previous year question by the UPSC, discuss that topic in detail, try and write an answer, and then in the end give you a homework which you can submit, and I am happy to evaluate that for you as well. I hope that by now you have hit the subscribe button. If not, please do that and also share it with your friends as well. Do let me know in the comment section how can we improve this series even more going forward. If you are new here and you have no idea how to begin answer writing, how to have a structure at your hand, how to actually do it in a proper sense for the UPSC standards, please make sure that you watch our first class of this series. I am giving the link of this entire playlist in the description of the video. Click on that link, go to class number 1. In lecture number 1, you will find our discussion about how to structure an answer, how to write the introduction part, what to write here, what to write in the main body, what to write in the conclusion, where to write the way forward, where to avoid, so on and so forth. All that will be discussed. So please make sure that you do see that in case you are new here. If not, then let's go ahead and see which question are we taking up. So we are taking up a question from 2022 GS number 3. It's a question from industry, then infrastructure. Elaborate the scope and significance of food processing industry in India. Now it's a tricky question, because if you have not read about food processing industry, there is no way that you can answer this question. In order to answer this question, you must have read about food processing. The reason why it's not a very unexpected topic is that in the past few years, the government has been talking a lot about food processing industry. There is a lot of talk about government's efforts to double the farmers' income, and the government is trying to push the farmers towards cash crops and also giving a push to food processing industry to make sure that the life of the food produce actually elongates, that the food does not go waste. So there have been a lot of talks about food processing industry. Many mega food parks have also been set up in different parts of the country. So it is not an unexpected question, but yes, it is a question from a topic that many people do not read in detail. If you have not read in detail, then you are in trouble here, because you don't get options in GS 1, 2 and 3. You have to attempt all the questions that are given. So here they are asking you two things. First, the scope of this industry. Now when you say scope of this industry, basically what it means to say is how much more can it be expanded? How big can it become? What are the different opportunities? So you have to write here how it can actually play a major role in improving the condition of the farmers, in improving our export potential as well. How or what scope does it have, because of which the government is looking at it seriously and investing a lot of money in infrastructure. Second would be significance. Significance, as the name suggests, how does this factory help us right now? Significance can be in the form of employment. It can be in the form of, as I said, increased nutritional value. Significance can be in the form of India's better exports. All these can be significant. So you have to write these two things separately. The scope of this industry, how much can it be expanded in the future, and the significance of this industry. So we'll first write the intro. Whenever there is such kind of a question about certain sector or certain industry, an ideally introduction should be, what is the contribution that this industry has in our GDP, if you have a percentage figure, or the size of that industry in billions of dollars. If you know one of these two things, that this industry right now is this much dollar, or this industry basically contributes this much to our GDP, if you have that kind of a data, it would be an ideal way to begin the answer. But in most of the cases, such as these, it is very rare that you will have this data. You will not remember this. In that case, what do you do? If you don't have this data, then obviously you have to start with a definition of food processing industry. Write about food processing industry, what all does it include, that kind of a thing can be your introduction. So depending upon that. So what are we doing here? I'm giving you a combination of both. First line is basically a definition. The food processing industry encompasses a wide range of activities, including processing, preservation, packaging, distribution of food products. So, if you don't know any fact about numbers, percentage, contribution to GDP, then you can just go ahead with this one. Just this one line would be good enough. But if you have facts or data, then add this part. It will give a even better look to your introduction. The food processing industry sector contributes 6% to our GDP, 13% to our exports, and 6% to overall industry investment in the country. But again, as I said, it is very rare that you will have this data because you can't make a long list. It's difficult for you to remember. Anyways, we'll come to the main body. We'll first write the scope. As I said, scope basically means how much can it be expanded, what do we see in the future. First, India has a large raw material base. We are one of the largest producers of meat, one of the largest producers of fruit, vegetables, etc. All these things which have a very limited shelf life, they are extremely important. These things, if you want to export to another country, you have to extend its shelf life, and this is where food processing industry plays a major role. If you are growing mangoes and you want to send mangoes to far off places, let's say US, Australia, etc., you want to have the shelf life extended. This is where food processing industry plays a big role. India also has a lot of diverse products to sell. We are an majority agricultural nation still. We have a wide variety of horticulture, livestock, fishery. All of that can be a good add-on to our food processing industry for our exports. India is one of the largest consumers as well. So not just exporting, but even our local consumption is very significant. That can be a good add-on to the food processing industry. There can be a lot of investments as well. Our food processing industry is one of the largest FDI recipients. In fact, many foreign companies have invested already in India's food processing business. Many government schemes have also been focusing here, including the production linked incentive scheme, and thus there is untapped potential. Only 2% of fruits and vegetables and 10% of main products are actually processed, so the shelf life can be extended much more ways. Now, I know it's easy to write right now as a model answer, but facts like these are very difficult to remember in the examination. And this is why it's important to practice answer writing. The more you practice answer writing, the better you get at it, the better you will become at learning important facts, trying to understand what are the facts that you have to remember, and that is what will come in handy. Second part of the main body was the significance. How does it help? Obviously, profit to farmers. Their income can be increased, crop diversification. They can be pushed towards growing different types of crops, since that will now be protected with food processing. Better employment opportunities, contribution to economy also can be increased because of food processing industry. Because of increased shelf life, we can reduce the waste of produce, we can increase nutritional value and have export potential through the roof. All these are the significance and the scope of food processing industry. Again, this is not a definitive list. If you have some other points, feel free to write those. If you want to write in your own language, you can do that as well. But that is how you can write this answer of scope and the significance. Then you can conclude about how right now India's level of food processing is less than 10%, while in other forms or in other parts of the world it is much higher. We do face many challenges, but to overcome the challenges, we have to further develop the technology, and the government should take many more initiatives in this regard. Something like this can be a rounding off conclusion. This is how you answer this particular question. Now I have a homework for you. Look at it very carefully. How does focusing on technology instead of human-centered solutions influence the goal of social welfare programs? It's a tricky question. Suggest a balanced strategy that aligns technological progress with the primary aims of social security and inclusion. So try and see if you can answer this question in about 200 words. If you can, and if you want me to evaluate, send them across to this email ID. reminding you, we are launching very soon after the prelims the Mastering Mains Answer Writing course. If you want to know more details about it, do let me know in the comment section or mail here and I'll be happy to respond. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Jai Hind.